if you play grand strategy games and you've been wondering where is my next RTS game, how am I going to play it, is it going to be Total War and Paradox, I have the game for you. That is Knights of Honor 2 Sovereign. I've got an early access to this game and all I can say is this game has exceeded beyond my expectations. This is truly a completely unique game. Of course it borrows from elements of the Total War franchise and the Paradox franchise, but it is something unique within itself. And I would like to see more RTS games adopt this style of approach that Knights of Honor 2 has given. Knights of Honor 2 is a gem, a diamond in the rough. In the field where RTS has declined for, I believe, a long time, this has come and I believe it will revive the franchise. Of course, there's Paradox and there's Total War, but there aren't that many other competitors. And Knights of Honor 2 provides that opportunity. Of course, this game is basically the same as Knights of Honor 1, I believe, and it has a little bit more features in, and they did say that during the first half of the game you will struggle to figure out what is what, who is doing what, how the UI works, but I guarantee to you, give it 30 minutes, give it 40 minutes, you will easily understand what this game is about. It's not that hard to get into, and honestly there's an emphasis now these days on RTS games trying to be extremely difficult, extremely complex, extremely this X, Y, Z. But this game is simple, but it allows you to create your own complex narrative, and that's something I feel that's been missing in some RTS games. And I believe that they could definitely expand the map, they could definitely get some new DLCs in it, maybe do India, Japan, China. I really would like to see all that stuff. And it is true that the medieval world definitely comes alive, and there's a stunning soundtrack as well, and a great addition of the RTS battles are really awesome. Though while I've enjoyed the RTS battles, I feel that they're not that big of a feature, in the sense that you could perhaps maybe auto resolve battles, or maybe you don't have enough camera controls to get fully immersed into the combat. But maybe that's because I play Total War, so I'm expecting more freedom, but there are not that many RTS games that gives you that freedom to go and engage in battle. So I think that's absolutely fantastic, and I would love to see how the multiplayer is going to be, because guys, if you want multiplayer on this, you can play multiplayer with hundreds of factions, hundreds of kingdoms. Why not get this game? Why not try it out? And I would say that this game is 100% worth the money. It's 100% worth it. Now, some would say that, well, maybe not, maybe it is, but look, we don't get many RTS games, and we don't get it in such a beautiful, big, expansive world that it is. Of course, the objective is very simple. Conquer and dominate Europe through a variety of different objectives that allows you to basically influence your playstyle. You have to hire marshals, you have to use diplomats, merchants, clerics and spies, and all of these will be crucial in order for you to grow your kingdom. And you will need to accumulate gold, you need to build economic buildings, you need to raise and recruit troops, everything standard, everything that is standard in a normal RTS game. But the main thing is that you can view the fights, you can see what's happening on the campaign map, you do get diplomatic offers there and then, and the AI does often congratulate you for supporting you in a war or not. In many of the battles that I fought, the AI didn't come once to help me. Not once. But in one battle which I was fighting, it did come to help, so I would like to see improvement on that front. There is 200 plus historical kingdoms, there's 300 provinces. You build up your economy, produce valuable goods, and you have to make sure that your lands can support your military. And one of the best things they've done, which I think should be a blueprint for Medieval 3, is that if you're having a siege, you're going to be besieged by the enemy army. The enemy army will raid your villages and your farms. This would be an excellent blueprint for Medieval 3, and it would also hark back to the days of when you played Napoleon Total War and you had to raid the towns, the villages, etc. I appreciate that this game is very simple. You can easily get into it, it becomes very addicting, and you will play hundreds of hours in this game. What this game needs more of, in my opinion, is more event art, more DLC, such as to expand the world that there is. So we can perhaps get, South America or something like that, or the Americas, which would be absolutely excellent. I would say the Knights of Honor 2 does another thing that's absolutely brilliant. It stays faithful to the original. It is basically a remastered game with graphics and some new UI additions. Now, I could be wrong on this, but I will say it like this because I was watching a live stream and the developers were saying that we didn't want to change what the original Knights of Honor was, because when we played the original Knights of Honor, they became really addicted to the original version of how it was made. And nowadays you have games where they will remaster some things, but they'll remaster the old graphics. They won't upgrade it to new graphics. The main part is that what Knights of Honor 2 is, it's basically, for me, a upgraded version of Knights of Honor 1. It expands upon it, it adds new features, it does a simplified UI, and it achieves what it sets out to be. A grand strategy RTS game that anybody that has an interest in medieval history and may not have an interest will definitely get addicted to this. Because the game is very simple. Here's your army, here's your town, you build, you recruit, and you become the Emperor of Europe. You become Emperor Charlemagne, perhaps. On other areas, I do think the game is lacking because there's not a lot of flavors for the factions, such as, let's say, if we go to the medieval Islamic kingdoms, I do feel they need more events. They do need a more unique build-in roster, and I do feel that some areas need to be sorted out in terms of immersion. But these are small things, these aren't any big issues. I mean, with DLC, with more content in the future, these can definitely be expanded out. Although, the only thing that I was a little bit concerned about was when you besiege a city, though I've not had the good fortune of doing that just exactly, I wonder if the buildings that you build in your city will directly appear on the battle map. That's something I would like to see confirmed. But at the end, the game is fun. You can play as any faction as you want, and it provides an immersive experience. There'll be scheming alliances, scheming diplomacy, etc. Your factions, your dukes, will definitely try to coerce you into supporting their war, conflict, etc. The main problem is that these events do get repeated often, so it becomes very repetitive. So what we do need is something similar to Crusader Kings 3 Friends and Foe DLC or something like that. More events, more stuff. But otherwise, the main base game is more than enough to last you for thousands of hours. You want to talk about replayability? This game has it in the boatload. And I've seriously enjoyed it. I mean, seriously, I'm not saying this to praise the game or anything. I was looking forward to it. I went in with a completely blank mind. I said, okay, let's see how this game goes. I wasn't doing great on this game. I was losing every single time. But that's good, because through mistakes you learn. And at the end of the day, this is a fantastic game. You should go ahead. It will release tomorrow, so definitely go ahead and I'd say buy it. It's 100% worth the money. And yeah. So don't forget to leave a like, share, comment and subscribe. But I will say this in my final statement. This is a grand RTS game that is going to perhaps bring a revival of newer, bigger, better RTS games. And this is also a great mid-sized competitor to Total War and CK3. I really do believe that in the end, this is only going to be good for the entire RTS genre as a whole. See ya.